So you need to do a coolant change on your on your Nissan. Today I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. Here are some things you'll need. Approximately, you're going to need 8.5 litres of coolant, a drain pan, a coolant bleeding funnel, a garden hose, and the last thing you'll need, a can-do attitude. First step, jack off your car. And remember to use jack stands and a wheel chock because we value our lives. Step 2. Without turning the car on, put the keys in the ignition and turn to on. Put the heater on fully hot and put the fan to 1. This should open up the heater core so we can easily drain the fluid out of there as well. Step 3. Head back to the front of the car, locate the drain plug on the radiator, slide your drain pan underneath that bad boy, and take the radiator cap off. Now that you're prepared, you can undo that drain plug and be ready to catch the water. If you're not happy with the amount of water coming out or the flow, you can go ahead and take off the bottom radiator hose as well. This will accomplish the same thing, be a lot faster, but just be a lot more messy, so bear that in mind. Now we want to move on to draining the coolant from the engine and the heater core. To do that, the first thing you want to do is take off the top radiator hose. Disclaimer, I recommend using 2 hands and being very careful, unlike myself, who used 1 hand trying to record and painted the wall. Once you've got that hose off, you're going to want to find something to plug it up with. For me, I found a new tip for my rubber hammer and I wrapped tape around it until it was thick enough and I put that inside and it fit nice and snug. Next, we're going to head to the back of the engine by the firewall where you can find the heater core hoses. We're going to be taking off the top heater core hose. Be careful not to break that plastic fitting, by the way, when taking it off like I did. They are very old and very brittle. Now this is why we needed a garden hose. It's recommended to use a 19mm, but I used an 18 and a 12. With the 18, to get it inside of the black hose, what I did, as you can see here, is I snipped it so I could squish the hose smaller and get it inside easier. And then with the 12mm hose, I just simply put it inside the yellow plastic fitting. The small hose inside the yellow plastic part is going to be our water feed, and the other one is the water exit. Let's start draining the coolant from the engine block and the heater core. To start off, you can blow on the inlet hose, which was the smaller one. As you can see here, when you blow, the water should come out the other hose, so be ready to catch it. Once you've blown out as much as you can take your inlet hose and connect it to your tap on your house. You can now manually run water through the system by turning on the tap and watching the water come out. Keep doing this until the water coming out is fully clear and looks nice and clean. Once you are satisfied, it's time to fill it back up with coolant. I have now disconnected it from the house and I've got a funnel where I'm going to be pouring coolant in. I'm going to be watching until it goes from clear to green, and once it's green, you know that everything is filled up with coolant. Now it's time to put your hoses back on. So pull out your garden hoses, pop your heater core hose back on, ensuring it's nice and tight, making sure both your top and lower radiator hoses are also back on. And next we want to take out our coolant overflow bottle so we can wash that bad boy out as well. To do this, we're going to want to unbolt the washer bottle and the fuse box just so we can move them around slightly. We don't have to take them out of the car. It's just nice to have them loose so that we've got a little bit more wiggle room to get that overflow bottle out. With the overflow bottle out, take it around to your tap around the side of the house and keep washing it. Try to get as much stuff out as you can and be sure to dispose of the water that was in there correctly with your council standards. Refit the bottle along with the fuse box, washer bottle and everything else, and at this point all your stuff in your car should be fitted together nice and tight. Now we're on to the exciting part. We can start filling up the car with some coolant, so put on your bleeding funnel, grab your bottles of coolant and keep filling it up until it stops. As you're going, keep squeezing the hoses to make sure you try to get out as much bubbles as you can before we turn the car on. We don't want too much for now, but go ahead and put 100 or 200 mils in the overflow. We'll fill it up once the whole process is done, but for now we only need a little bit in there. Once you're satisfied that you've squeezed the hoses and got enough bubbles out and as much coolant in there as you can, we can go ahead and start the car. Now we leave the car running for as long as it needs to run. This could take up to 20 minutes. Just keep an eye on your bleeder funnel the whole time, making sure it doesn't go empty because that could cause an airlock. Eventually when the car's operating temperature, the thermostat will open up and it will do a big gulp and swallow a bunch of coolant. Keep filling it up, make sure it does not get low and keep squeezing those hoses. Also, be sure to keep looking underneath the car to make sure there is no leaks anywhere. In my case, the drip was just from coolant that I had spilt on the radiator falling down. It was not a leak, it was just some mess that I had created. So it's your job to decide whether that is the case or if you've got a leak that you need to address. And the other thing to look out for is the temperature gauge. Just keep watching that gauge, checking underneath the car and filling up that funnel making sure there's no leaks, no overheating, and the funnel doesn't get empty, then you should be okay. You may notice that the coolant in the funnel keeps going up and down. That's from air bubbles in the system moving around. So once that has stopped, there's no more air coming out, and you can squeeze the hoses without any air bubbles coming out. It's pretty safe to say that the cooling system is nice and bled, and you're ready to go for your first drive and test it out.